So thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you for the great introduction. And I'm very happy to participate in this IEEE event and talk about nurturing tech startups to success in an university ecosystem. I've deliberately chosen that there are large number of now incubators in different places in the country. Over last 15 years, they have been set up. But unfortunately, what we find that most incubators are there. They incubate companies. They have been funded very generously, but very few successful incubatees, very few successful business emerge. This is very unfortunate. And I think basically, while this has been driven by the government and money has been poured in, they have not bothered to really teach how to create successful startups, create an ecosystem with that. They have pretty much, even at the various universities, people sort of believe that if they give money, something will happen. Unfortunately, it does not. So I'm going to talk about what is required. And I'm going to talk purely from our experience. Because probably IIT Madras Research Park and Incubation Cell is the finest tech startup system today. And I can say that from the numbers. Over the last, from 2008-9 onwards, we have incubated 351 startups. We don't do too many. We do very carefully. And there are two things that stand out about that. First of all, 80% of startups survive even after 5, 6, 7 years. This is not so. Most other startups die because as soon they are given some money, as soon as the money runs out, they die. In our case, that's not so. And we'll tell you why. And we actually don't provide easy money. That's one of the things. The value of these 351 startups, taken about 6 months back, was 45,000 crores. Our total investment, we haven't depended too much on government grants, etc. But total money that we may have invested is about 3 crores, including, and the rest we have earned. And we have created an ecosystem of 45,000 crores. And I'll tell you what made it successful from our learnings, what made it successful. The second important point that I'm making is that our startups are in every engineering discipline. And there are no e-commerce startups. So it's all deep tech startup. Ours is a deep tech startup. And if you see, it is not that as if IIT Madras has made a difference, because 56% of startups are by founders who have nothing to do with IIT. They come from the smallest colleges, many of those colleges whose name also I did not know before they came. That's a kind of 56% of startups. 25% of our startups are by alumni, IIT Madras alumni, but they have worked for several years and then they come back and they start. And 13% of our alumni are started by faculty. So there is a fairly heavy faculty participation. Now that also we'd like to look at what and how this has happened. What is a lesson that I can say? We have these two incubator, IITM Incubation Cell and RTBI. RTBI exists from 2007 onwards, IITM IC from 2011 or 12 onwards. As I told you, 350 companies, 45,000 crore rupees, last year's valuation. The latest company, Ather, is going to go public soon. And when that happens, we'll probably cross 60,000 crores. Now, the other important thing, when we start the company, we typically own 3 to 4% of shares in each company. And the shares get diluted. But even after dilution, today, we own about 300 crore rupees worth of shares. So when we get the exit, we will get that money. The other important thing is that there is a board-driven companies, prominent industrialists plus a few faculty. Now, the first important thing is full autonomy from the government. Government plays no role. We made sure that the government has no, they are there in the board, a few people, but they are in small minority. And if we like their suggestion, great, but they cannot tell us what to do. If they attempt to tell us, we don't listen to them. Same thing is with IITM administration. We keep the IITM administration, their directors and deans away, so they are present on the board. But the way we have worked for last 14, 15 years is that if it makes sense, fine, any suggestion from them we'll take. Otherwise, we will not listen to them. We have an independent committee with external members, with no faculty. Even for smallest seed funding, we have ensured to keep IITM away on many of these things. And therefore, I'm going to talk about what makes an incubator successful, a deep process, and I'm going to talk from our experience. And to give you an example of what has happened, I gave you example of only 3 companies out here. Unifor is a company where we incubated in 2010. We invested 10,000 rupees with them. And during the COVID time, 2020, we are in somewhat of a trouble, so we had to sell the shares. We approached Unifor. They said, yes, you can sell the shares. And we got 11.5 crore rupees. 10,000 rupees we invested, 11.5 crore we got. There is another company called MediBuddy. We put it in 2014, 4,000 rupees. And we got 14 crore rupees return. And a third company, Goovi, we invested 5,500 rupees in 2014. And last year we got 4.28 crores. There are 25 companies where our investment is under 10,000 rupees, and we are going to get close to 10 crore by the time they exit. So this is our success, and I'm asking a question: what makes an incubator successful? There is a deep process, and the process consists of these following steps. The first step is create excitement. We'll talk more about it. Learn to build, reality check and incubate, prepare, start for long haul, multi-dimensional training, mentoring, monitoring, and deep networking. Now these are processes that work in Indian environment. If you ask me, will this work anywhere else? I have no idea. We understand Indian environment. We understand when the youngsters come to us to start a company, what should we do? And whatever I'm talking about is relevant, therefore, only to India. Some of these may be applicable elsewhere. Many of these may not be applicable. So let me go through step by step each of the process. Today, we are going to other campuses, smaller campuses, very small campuses. And suppose we want to grow entrepreneurs there. What do we do? The first job that we do is we go there and create excitement amongst youngsters. Now, what does it mean by creating excitement amongst youngsters? Today, if you go to a small college and talk to the students and you ask them what is their ambition, they will say, oh, a job, preferably a multinational job after graduation. Some of them will say, we like to go for a further study, preferably abroad. We try to influence them to say that entrepreneurship could be another option. What do? We take young, successful entrepreneurs to talk. And when they relate their experience and there are cross-questions, suddenly there is excitement. So, and we take only the Indian universities. If you take people from outside, again, you are going to only reinforce only outside the country people can succeed. We therefore take Indian entrepreneurs and the young entrepreneurs and garage this talk. We also create innovation challenges, hackathons, competition, and all that, and some visit to startup exhibition. Now, many colleges are already doing that. What we have found that this is very necessary. This will generate excitement for startups. will help youngsters come to incubator to build a startup. But I think our lesson over last 15 years that it plays a minor role in creating successful startup. While this is essential and necessary, this in itself does not create successful startup. And many of the incubators that we know actually do this, do not do anything beyond this, and they do not create successful startup. I am again repeating, very few successful startup emerges from competition and prices. So what is the next step? The most important next step is learn to build. Unfortunately, our university environment, it has become lectures, homework, and exams. Largely, we turn off students. Even the best lecturer, best faculty giving very high quality lectures gradually find that the attendance keeps coming down unless students are forced by attendance rules. Because after a certain amount of time, many students cannot connect deeply to the lectures. On the other hand, what makes an engineer is a culture of making building things that work. As against attending classes, doing routine lab experiments, doing homework and writing labs. So our example is when we see young children and we tell them to study, yes, some of them may study, some of them may not. We give them a Lego tool or a Meccano or a jigsaw puzzle. They play. And a number of kids get together and play. You don't have to tell them to go and play with Lego. They will do it. They play, they enjoy, and they learn. They spend countless hours. So we are trying to create the same thing. We create centers for build clubs and innovation labs in the institute. The important thing is that we keep the faculty away from these clubs. It's run entirely by students. Institute provide only space and some funds. And these are 24-hour mixed gender funds. Build anything, figure out, get materials, build, enjoy, exhibit. Lego model. These are not part of curriculum. Only for interested students. We don't mind if 30 students come. That's perfectly all right. More will come over time. And we keep the faculty away. Then we also do one thing that if there are multiple build clubs, we connect them together. The important thing is to learn from each other, compete with each other, use build club website for initial project details, create community forums, and we have been driving this with periodic exhibits at IITM Research Park. What does one build? We start by getting them some kits to initially build something. After that, they can build anything. Figure out, get materials, build, enjoy. Today, web is there. You can search. Some mentoring from select faculty if required, but you have to be careful. If faculty hangs around, the club will not work. You can occasionally get some PG students to become mentors, but there also, nobody should act as a faculty. As I pointed out, these are all for interested students. And this is the kind of things that they are building all the time. You go to colleges after colleges. Today we are present. Today we are. They build, they enjoy. And every college within a few days, we have seen the learning starts going up like anything. Multidisciplinary knowledge during these 2 days. Typically, we go there only, and then the clubs continue. But I want to point out this is a very good beginning. But very few successful startups may emerge by just doing this. So, what is the next step? We have created excitement. Now we have to de-excite. What we call reality check. Youngsters come and say, I want to incubate. We push them back. We ask very hard questions. Excitement brings students or faculty with expectation of huge success. And we tell them it's extremely difficult career option. You are certain to fail. Nobody succeeds without failure. It takes a long time, very hard work, 16 hours a day for years with no money. If you go and take up a job from day one, your working hours will be only 8, 9 hours, 8 hours, 7 hours, and you will get money. There is no risk. Here you are certainly going to fail. If people say we will not fail, well, we find that nobody has succeeded without multiple failures. We have a one-to-one interaction with entrepreneurs and we ask questions. How many times have you failed in your life? We don't look at the product idea. We want to look at what do youngsters do when they fail. Do he or she knows how to get up after failure and restart? That's the important thing. We get them prepared for long and hard work, and we do not provide easy funds to make the startup process easy. Because we believe easy fund hurt the startup more than it helps. Then we provide you space, services, some occasional seed funds, but we prepare them for hard grind. Prepare them for a tougher career option. And as they start doing hard work and we start seeing results, then we may give money in small bits, some seed funds. Then we try to tell them that you need to become a master of all trades. Product idea plays a smaller role. Much bigger challenge. Do you know how to build product? Do you know how to manage people? How will you create a team? Do you know how to manage finance? How are you going to give salary at the end of the month? You know how to assess market, manufacture products which customer likes. Why do you think customer will like your product? Why will you think they will pay for it? How much will they pay? But do they know how to sell? Do you know how to make margins out of each sales? You know how to raise money. All these things people do not know and we provide them. Preparing the startup for long haul. Startup never succeeds quickly. They have 2 years, 3 years, very often even 4 years. So we prepare them that you need to just continue for 5, 6 years. And therefore, when they come in, we ask them, do you have family obligations? Do you have to support your parents? Do you have to support your siblings? If you have to do that, do not do startup. Go and do that job by taking up a job. When you are free of obligations, come back to us. They should be ready to work hard, do right things, and take each failure as a lesson to move ahead. Reboot after failures, gather the pieces, and engage in another battle after every failure. And you will fail multiple times. Then we, of course, provide all kinds of training towards driving venture. Young entrepreneur will take time to mature. Most of the people who come to us are between 22 to 25 year age. We have very few senior people. We also say that understanding finance is key. And this is lacking in all Indian universities. Training may include concept of product development, understanding the product market. Is the product needed? Who will buy the product? How much will they pay for it? What does it take to convert a prototype to manufactured product? Will it work 24/7? How will you service them? What is the cost of serving? What is cost? How companies finance? Revenue. What is the cost associated with revenue? What are working capital issues? Capital expenditure, fixed expenses, depreciation, interest costs, R&D costs. What is a balance sheet? What is profit and loss statement? Cash flow statement. Most of these things are mouthful and they don't even understand. But without this, they cannot success. How do you manage cash? How do you pay salary at the end of the month? You have no money. Where can you raise money? How does one raise money? How does one preserve money? Where can one borrow money? In case we find the best thing that we do is provide them the mentor, one-to-one mentor. And all mentors are from industry and they themselves should be leader of successful enterprise. Just because they have worked in a company does not mean that they know how to create successful startup. We want to see those who have created startup. Some alumni after long years of experience, probably one-to-one mentor, preferably a mentor assigned to each company, but must be acceptable, mutually acceptable. The other thing that we emphasize right from the beginning, that mentors do not decide anything. They are pure advice. Entrepreneurs can take their advice, need not take their advice. Then we also get mentors to provide feedback to incubator. And so that we can track, we'll talk more about it. And if we provide any kind of funding, even the smallest funding, we make it mandatory for them to take some mentor, mentor acceptable to them, but they have to take some mentor. The most important thing is the incubators has to be independent institutions. In most places, it is not. It is director who is deciding things. But the worst thing that can happen. Should be probably Section 8 company management, founders, vice chancellors, all must play zero role in decision making of the incubator. They can make rules and then get out. They have no say who to incubate, whom to incubate, whether to fund. Incubator to be governed by independent board, which can make policies and governance. And they can check your accounts are all right, policies are all right. Beyond that, they don't. Incubators should function like a startup. That's another thing. We don't give money to incubators. It should itself become self-supporting. We do a small seed funding and then, so very small salaries to begin with. We don't start incubator with high salaries. We also created deep networking among founders. I feel that they learn from each other more than they learn from networks. And they will fail multiple failures and they have to get up. So it's a very lonely journey. And when we group them together and they support each other and they can lean on each other, it really helps. So the other thing that we have learned is nurturing, incubating startup cannot be done enough. Give them 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. And all the time keep tracking progress and figure out wherever things go wrong and help them. Inculcates discipline. So on day one, we say, we will like to have a monthly board meeting. You find at least one independent board member. You bring. We will put a mentor as invitee. We fix, say, second Tuesday every month, 4 p.m. We even define what the slides will be. First slides will be what went well, what didn't go well, what went so over last month. Second slide, last meeting minutes and action taken. Then financial. Put in slide 3, balance sheet, P&L, cash flow, receivables and payables. If there is blank, doesn't matter, put 0, 0, 0. This, you must inculcate discipline and teach them. Then product update, R&D, design and development, manufacturing development, sales. What is the funnel, sales funnel? What is the probability of each sale in the pipeline? And next month we did track. You said probability was 80% and it has not happened. HR, what is why will people stay with you? Compliance status, very important, because when you start becoming successful and if you are not being compliant, it will hit you very badly. We actually create a track every startup. We rate them on leadership and team, mentor engagement, product readiness, market traction, manufacturing deployment readiness, governance and compliance, finance, board. We rate them on 1 to 5. And we create a figure which immediately tells us this is the state of the company. And that's how we actually do this. We have found that, as I told you earlier, that easy funding hurts. We provide some seed funding, but after experienced external committee evaluation, chaired by experienced VC, even 5 lakh rupees, we don't make it easy. And must avoid faculty offices of the institute. Connection to angel fund and venture fund. Valuation meaningful only if venture funds invest substantially. We don't, people come and say, my company is 100 crore. On what basis? Has somebody put 10 crore rupees at 100 crores? Then we accept it. Otherwise, your value is zero. The money that incubator gives, or you get it from some government sources, gives you zero value. Only when VC invest or angel fund invest, and they say your company is valued as 30 crores, we are going to give you 7 crores and take 25% of the money, then we'll consider value to 30 crores. To sum up, India has a large number of incubators, incubating a large number of companies. Very few successful startups. Therefore, numbers deceive. We need to fix all this. We need incubator success metrics. Use valuation as a single point of metrics. That's not what the government goes about. They try to tom-toe saying, oh, we have done tens of thousands of startups. How many have succeeded? We try to tell them success takes hard work and long haul. Shortcuts hurt. Governments don't understand that. They want to show off because they have to get elected. What I can say, however, this is doable. India has huge talent. Our youngsters are very good. If we do the right thing, they will succeed and it will build India. Let's get going on the hard task of building India. No shortcut. Thank you. I'm stopping here and I will stop sharing the slide so that people can ask questions.
Thanks, sir, for the insightful discussion. We would like audience team to, if they have question, they can turn on the audio and ask question directly.
Good evening, sir. This is Jaitirtha.
Go ahead.
I have an idea, sir. P-type semiconductor is placed in parallel to a battery. It self-charges the battery, and there is no need of external source to charge the battery. Is this idea a good idea?
Sorry, where will energy come from?
P-type semiconductor holes will be there. Holes will be jumping from conduction band to the valence band.
But that will get over in one charge. Where you will continuously give electricity from. You have to have energy. There is no energy cannot be created just like that. Energy has to be there.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sorry for disturbing you.
Next question.
So,
Mahato.
Yes, sir.
So good evening, Nagarajan here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great presentation. Very, very practical and direct. My question is, you said valuation is a single measure of success. Do you also track return on capital employed?
Yeah, I mean, basically the valuation will go high only if you have return on capital. Otherwise, you may think that there is a valuation. After some time, valuation will drop. So
Correct.
we do use that. Otherwise, all other numbers can be fudged. This is a number that cannot easily, nobody will put 10 crore rupees into your company without doing a proper valuation.
Okay, so your
Anybody would like to put 10 crore rupees, 10 crore would have done valuation properly.
Okay, so you're primarily taking an investor view.
Yeah.
In that sense.
Yeah, because finally, if nobody is willing to invest in your company, means it has very limited value. Finally, you need money to grow. And so that's what it is.
Okay, thank you.
There is a question, should incubator take equity in student startup? We take equity, 3 to 4% equity in every startup to begin with. We provide them everything free after that. We don't charge them on anything. Next question, please.
Hello, sir. Surbhi Arora this side, doing PhD from...
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Doing PhD from IIT Bombay. So I have a question about IITM Research Park provides space or help to any another in a startup or for IIT Madras startup?
No, any startup which gets incubated. As I told you, 56% of startup has nothing to do with IIT. So somebody comes here from some other college and say, I want to do a startup, and we find them okay. We provide space, we provide everything. We have not.
Okay.
Frankly speaking, we don't even ask question whether you are from IIT Madras or not.
Okay. Any age criteria or
No age
anything?
criteria. No age criteria. No other criteria. Only you have to come and say, show us
Oh.
that you are really uh, serious
Okay.
about stuff.
Okay, actually, I'm working in RF and microwave area in antennas and radars. So I'm going to build to go
Sure.
to a startup to build the radars for the defense and aerospace system.
Yeah, you have to show us that that you will build a business which will succeed.
Okay.
And
Okay.
once you can show us that, we will take you.
Okay. To whom to approach?
Okay, I will put down my email address. There
Okay.
is an incubator, but I'll put my email address right now in the chat box. And then you can, every one of you can write to me any number of mails, anytime. There is in the chat box, I put my mail in Ashok at tenet.res.in. That is my mail. You send me a mail. Anybody can send me a mail. Every mail will be answered.
Thank you so much, sir.
So somebody is asking how to be a part of incubation center discussion or promotion. Provide a link. I've given you my email here. I will not use WhatsApp. Please use that.
Dr. Ashok, good evening. Really inspiring, 80% success and with a huge corpus created is elevating. Dr. Ashok, is it possible for other incubators, other institutes to learn from you? Therefore, the success rate can go up. Is it possible to share the knowledge from your institute to other institutes?
Yeah, I mean, we do. There are two things. First of all, these are not easy lessons. I give these lectures, but like giving lectures, you even listen to it does not mean that you really start doing that. It takes a long and hard task. Most people take shortcuts. So that is one. We have, however, partnered with a few select institutions. There we really go all out way to help. But then when we partner, we do certain discipline. We say you have to do certain things. Otherwise, we will not partner with you.
Okay, doctor. Thank you. I will write to you separately in your email. Thank you, doctor.
I'm against writing my mail. Because somebody's asking me again for a email. I'm again sending you an email. The questions are coming very rapidly. I'm not able to go through all of them, but keep asking questions.
Hello, Ashok ji. Ashok ji, this is Naresh Chand from New Jersey. 25 years ago, you visited me in Bell Laboratories, if you remember.
I remember that, sir.
Yeah, so when you attended a conference in Baltimore, so this morning when I came to know about your talk, so I'm attending from here and I enjoy it. In US, we have something called SBIR. Small Business Industrial Research, and STTR, Small Business Technology Transfer. And these people can, these, especially the defense agencies and other government agencies, they have problems and they invite proposals from individuals for SBIR, STTR. Biggest problem for any startup is to find the right problem. And India has needs, defense services or other government agencies like railways or, they have need. So is there anything like that, SBIR, STTR in India, where these agencies?
No, there is no such thing. There are funds, however, available to the incubator, but there is no, I know about the small business funds in US. There is no such thing. We have recommended number of times. There are funds available. I mean, incubator particularly get funds, but other than that, keep government away. That's all.
But it's the problem.
You take anything from government starts controlling you.
Yeah.
So we in India, I don't know about the world. In US may be different, but we will like to keep government away.
We see that DRDO might have tons of problems, right?
I know they have tons of problems, but when they start giving money, we get into trouble.
I see. So my second question to you, Ashok ji, is that photonics today is playing a big role in our everyday life. And in India, photonics lavarish. There is no agency, there is nobody there, there is no national initiative. If you see that in India,
No, sir, you
maybe,
write to me separately. There are a number of things that's going on. One of the
Okay.
company that I founded along with Gururaj Deshpande, Tejas, is now gone public and it's a huge valuation. They are doing an immense amount of work. There's a lot of photonics work. There is a national effort. If you write to me, I'll connect you to the people. I myself am no longer working in photonics work, but there are others who are doing it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I see a question on what is your thoughts on hustle. I agree. It's an immense amount of hustling that a startup has to do. This is part of life. You have to fail. You have to get up. You have to hustle. But let me tell you that finally your hard work pays.
Hello, sir. May I ask a question, please?
Sure, Jeet.
Yeah, sir. My question is, as per the literature I underwent, I saw that majority of the startup fails due to the lack of knowledge of how to manage their funds, how much salaries to pay, how much to keep in the bank, etc. So, are we keeping the mentors, keeping this point in mind that they have a financial
Very
background?
much, very much. If you go through my slides, and I don't mind if the lecture is recorded, a link can be provided to everybody. If not, you write to me and I will send you a copy of my slides. If you see, finance is one of the major things, but that's not the only reason. Most people don't even know how to sell. Most people do not know how to make products, margin out of products. Most people do not know how to manage a team. So there are a lot of learning that has to be done, including finance, and finance is one of the key things that I pointed out. So please go through my slides. You will see most of the point that you are saying, Jeet, is there. Yes, next.
So, sir, I see a question from Divya Sharma in the chat, and she's asking, sir, if any college does not have any specific or separate department for entrepreneurship, if you could kindly throw light, what can be done in such institute for nurturing the entrepreneurial culture so that students can get a spark?
Well, what can I say? Your institute have to create that kind of thing. But you are most welcome to come to us.
Yeah. So, sir, I see another question from Divya Venkatraman. Thanks
Yeah.
for the great talk, sir. Could you
Slides will be
give?
very useful.
Yeah.
She has to write an email to me and I'll send the slides.
Yeah, so she is asking, could you give recommendation on good resources to fill gaps on financial aspects of running a startup?
It is, you have to do large number of courses. It's a continuous learning. We have lots of training goes on in Research Park on every aspect. And no one training will help you learn things. We also don't do, our learning is always like a few hours a week, because you have to do other work. So few hours a week, you have to keep on learning about it. Occasionally something we may do a 1 or 2 days or a Sunday or Saturday, but otherwise few hours a week. And you have to continuously learn.
Yes, sir. So there is another question from Yash Kumar Reddy. I'm not sure if you have already
Can you
asked.
give me a perspective on things
Yeah.
to figure out
Yeah.
for a student startup that did zero revenue after 15 months? Well, you have messed it up, but you start again. It's all right. Failure is perfectly fine. Success comes out of failures, multiple failures. You need to just have your. Of course, you have to learn from every failure. Why did you fail? What did you miss out last time? Next time, try to close that.
So I guess we have covered most of the questions in the chat. Audience, just one more call out in case any one of you have further questions you would like to ask here.
SK or no? Somebody.
Thank you, sir. Great. That was a great presentation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I would hand over the session to
The
Suresh
question
Nair,
was,
sir.
no, 1 second. There are a few questions. How do we
Yes.
be part of incubation center, or you can write to me? What about the T-Hub? T-Hub I've seen in Hyderabad. is more of a space. They do a few programs, but they don't nurture the kind of way we do nurture. I think if you're an experienced startup, TF will be a great place. I mean, but if you are a 22-year, 23-year-old, it won't be them. Brij Bihari Tiwari, you can ask me the question. Brij Bihari Tiwari, you have raised your hand. You can ask me the question. Okay, he is not there.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, sir. Sir, I am Dr. Sudhir from NIT Calicut. Thank you, sir, for your informative talk. And I have two questions. One is, as you said in your presentation, the formation of multidisciplinary group working in 24/7 and throughout. So we have a group and we are doing very excellent work and we are developing innovative products with a lot of patents. But the thing what we are facing is mainly students are focusing on job and they are not coming up starting going for a startup.
So
But
that
how-
is very natural. You don't expect too many to come. Only let 1 to 2% students come and do startup. If they are successful, many more will come. You don't need 100 startups anyway. You can do 10 startup, 5 startup, and you should be happy and make them successful.
Okay, sir. The second question is even NIT Calicut itself, we have a lot of patents. But is it good to start? I mean,
Patents do not necessarily result into successful startups.
Okay, is it okay if we are, conducting a patent mela or like that so that it won't
All
be
those things are more of a showcase, will not help you do startups.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, I think now you can hand over to the.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. It was very exciting and it was more practical. I think that is what you gave all blunt answers, correct answers from your experience. I was listening to you also these, how difficult to get funding from IIT Madras also. That is like, and I always relate with children, you have to give them whatever is just required so that, they will come up in a right way.
I
So
think
thank you
very
much.
right. They are your children. You
Yeah.
give them too much money, they will get spoiled. You have to just give them the right thing.
Correct. That is exactly, I think, what I could gather. Yeah. Thank you very much, sir, for your, exciting talk. It was very, very practical and realistic.
Thank you, Suresh, for inviting me. Thank you. And please do write to me. My email address is there if you want any further questions. And visit us if you can, whenever you can. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, participants. Thank you.